Hey everyone, welcome back to Bharat Nivesh with Mithun. Today, we are discussing a topic that affects almost every Indian family and business, that is, rising gas prices. Whether it is the LPG cylinder used in our homes, commercial gas used by hotels and restaurants, or CNG used by auto rickshaws and taxis, an increase in gas prices creates a chain reaction across the economy. Many people think a gas price hike only affects cooking expenses, but in reality, it impacts transportation, food prices, business profits, and ultimately the cost of living for everyone. In this video, let us understand who gets affected the most, how businesses react, and what it means for the Indian economy. Before everything else, let's understand what's happening. Gas prices generally rise due to multiple factors. These include higher international energy prices, increased import costs, currency fluctuations, transportation expenses, and changes in government pricing policies. India imports a significant portion of its energy requirements. Therefore, when global energy markets become expensive, Indian consumers eventually feel the impact. If we consider the impact on Indian households, this is one of the biggest things that we need to consider. Let us first look about the common Indian household. For millions of families, LPG cylinders are the primary source of cooking fuel. When cylinder prices increase, monthly household expenses automatically rise. For a middle class family, every additional rupee spent on gas means less money available for savings, education, healthcare, entertainment, or investments. The impact is even greater on lower income families because fuel expenses from a larger percentage of their monthly budget. Some families may start reducing unnecessary expenses while others may delay purchases of non essential items. In simple terms, rising gas prices reduce the purchasing power of households. You might be having this question: will this impact hotels and restaurants? Now let us move to hotels, restaurants, bakeries, and food businesses. Commercial LPG cylinders are widely used across the hospitality sector. A hotel may use several cylinders every week. When gas prices rise, cooking costs increase immediately. Restaurants then face a difficult decision. Option 1 is to absorb the higher cost and accept lower profits. Option 2 is to increase menu prices and pass the burden to customers. Most businesses choose a combination of both. This is why, over time, we often see higher prices for meals, snacks, tea, coffee, and other food items. Even the small roadside eateries and local restaurants feel the pressure because their profit margins are already limited. Now let's look at the impact on small businesses. Many small and medium businesses also depend on gas for their daily operations. Examples include bakeries, food processing units, sweet shops, catering services, textile units, ceramic industries, and manufacturing businesses. Higher fuel costs increase production expenses. When production becomes expensive, businesses either increase prices or accept reduced profit margins. If profits fall significantly, businesses' expansion plans may be delayed. Some businesses may even reduce hiring or postpone investments in new equipment. This can slow economic growth over time. Let's consider one of the biggest impact, which is on auto rickshaw drivers. Let us now look at auto rickshaw drivers. In many Indian cities, autos operate using CNG. One major advantage of CNG has traditionally been its lower operating cost compared to petrol and diesel. However, when CNG prices rise, daily fuel expenses increase for drivers. An auto driver who was previously spending a certain amount per day on fuel may now spend significantly more. If passenger fares remain unchanged, the driver's income decreases. Many drivers therefore demand fare revisions to compensate for higher operating costs. But increasing fares can reduce demand from passengers. As a result, many drivers face pressure from both sides. Let's move on to the impact on taxi operators. Taxi operators face a similar challenge, whether it is app based taxis, fleet operators, or independent drivers. Rising fuel costs directly affect earnings. Drivers may need to spend more money to cover the same distance. If fuel costs continue increasing, transportation companies may eventually revise fares. Passengers then end up paying more for everyday travel. Higher transport costs can also affect airport transfers, business travel, tourism activities, and local commuting. If you ask me, is it an impact only for the above mentioned ones? Definitely not. This is an indirect impact on everyone. The most important thing to understand is that rising gas prices create indirect effects throughout the economy. When transportation becomes expensive, delivery costs increase. When delivery costs increase, goods become more expensive. When businesses face higher operating pressure, product prices also increase. As a result, consumers pay more for groceries, food delivery, restaurant meals, transportation services, and many other products. This process contributes to inflation. Inflation simply means the general increase in prices across the economy. So let's move on to who is the winner and who is the loser. Whenever energy prices rise, there are usually both winners and losers. Consumers, small businesses, transport operators, and hospitality business often face higher costs. On the other hand, some energy companies may benefit from stronger revenues depending on market conditions. Investors closely watch energy prices because they influence corporate earnings, inflation, interest rates, and overall economic growth. In this situation, what can households do? While individuals cannot control global energy prices, they can take steps to manage expenses. Families can focus on efficient fuel usage, avoid wastage, plan household budgets carefully, and maintain emergency savings. Businesses can improve operational efficiency and reduce unnecessary energy consumption. For investors, periods of rising energy prices often highlight the importance of diversification and long term financial planning. The rising price itself has a huge impact on our day to day life, and many of the people don't even realize this. Even if you don't use LPG frequently, rising gas prices can still affect your daily life. Think about it: the vegetables you buy from the market are transported using vehicles, the groceries delivered to your home require transportation, the food you order online is cooked using commercial gas and delivered using fuel powered vehicles. When fuel and gas costs increases, businesses face higher operating expenses. Over time, these additional costs are passed on to customers, which means you may end up paying more for vegetables and groceries, milk and dairy products, restaurant and hotel food, online food delivery, taxi and auto rickshaw rides, courier and logistic services, manufactured goods. A small increase in energy costs can create a ripple effect throughout the economy. For a salaried employee, this means monthly expenses rise while income may remain the same. For business owners, operating costs increase. For students and daily commuters, transportation becomes expensive. In simple words, rising gas prices reduce the purchasing power of money. The same 100 rupees that bought more goods yesterday may buy fewer goods tomorrow. Let's consider one of the biggest impact, that is on the Indian stock market. Now let us discuss how investors and the stock market react to rising gas prices. Energy is the backbone of every economy. When gas prices increase significantly, stock market participants closely monitor the situation because it affects corporate profitability and inflation. The impact is different across sectors. Sectors that may face pressure include airlines, transportation companies, logistic firms, hotels, restaurants, paint manufacturers, chemical companies, and other energy intensive businesses that may experience higher costs. If these companies cannot pass the increased expenses to consumers, their profits may decline. As a result, investors may become cautious about these stocks. Sectors that may benefit include some of the oil and gas exploration companies, energy producers, and related businesses that may benefit from higher energy prices. If selling prices increase faster than production costs, revenues and profits can improve. However, this depends on government regulations, subsidies, and market conditions. If we consider the impact on overall market sentiment, higher gas prices can increase inflation. While inflation rises, central banks may maintain higher interest rates for longer periods. Higher interest rates can sometimes reduce business expansion and consumer spending. This may in fact impact the stock market sentiment. Therefore, sustained increase in energy prices often create volatility in financial markets. So, what about the fuel and oil companies? Many people assume all fuel companies automatically make more profit when profits and prices rise. but the reality is more complex. Companies involved in oil exploration and production may benefit if crude oil and gas prices remain high. However, fuel marketing companies often face challenges depending on government policies and pricing controls. Sometimes, these companies cannot immediately pass the full increase in costs to consumers. In such situations, profit margins may be affected. Investors therefore closely monitor global crude oil prices, natural gas prices, government taxation policies, fuel subsidies, currency exchange rates, demand for energy. These factors collectively determine whether energy companies gain or lose from rising fuel prices. This is why the stock prices of oil and gas companies often move sharply whenever there are major changes in global energy markets. So, friends, rising gas prices are much more than just a higher LPG cylinder bill. They affect households, restaurants, hotels, manufacturers, auto rickshaw drivers, taxi operators, and ultimately every consumer in the country. The impact may not be visible immediately, but over time, higher energy costs influence food prices, transportation expenses, business profitability, and overall inflation. Understanding these economic connections helps us make better financial decisions and prepare for changing market conditions. What do you think about rising gas prices? Have they affected your household budget or business operations? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this analysis useful, please do a like, share, and subscribe to Bharat Nivesh with Mithun. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself and have a great day. Bye bye.